Welcome back, YouTube. Slick here in the Slickhead Garages. We're going to do something a little different today. I'm going to take you guys out on a test ride with me on the Flathead. Today should be the final, and I mean it, hopefully the final test ride. I finally discovered the mystery that was giving me troubles and why it was running so rough. And I'll explain that at the end of the video. Keep it a little bit of a mystery. So let's do a little test ride video, POV style, like in pornos. Alright, hang on. Okay, first I'll walk you through my starting procedure. First thing I got to do is make sure that the distributor is fully retarded. And I come over here, make sure the fuel is fully open. Put the choke on full choke. The needles are set up. Low speed was set up at 3.5 out. And the high speed was set up at 2 out. I've already worked the low speed needle in last night in until the motor almost stumbles and you back it out 5 to 10 clicks. So that one's pretty much set. Now we just need to get out on the road and set the high speed needle. And that's where I was having all my troubles. You have to make sure the bike is in the forward position with the foot clutch and the bike has to be in neutral. So with the full choke on, first thing you want to do is give it prime kicks at 100% throttle with no ignition on. It's 1, 2, and 3. Then come over to the carburetor, go 2 positions. I'll show you. Go 2 positions out of the choke. Turn the ignition to hot, and she usually fires the first kick. Your lights will be on. You give it 25% throttle. All right, she wants to be stubborn. All right, sorry about that. I had to reset the low speed needle because she wouldn't stay running when she got kicked up. So now I reset her. I worked her back in until she starts to stumble, and now she's at where she's at. Now I have to take it out on the road and adjust the high speed needle. So let's go, boys. Let's turn on the lights. Put the clutch in. Put it into first gear. And let's ride. She already feels better. Sounds better. Alright, see how she's sputtering? I gotta work the high-speed needle. Until you get the sputtering to go away. Sort of like that. Let's get her out. Oh my God, she feels so much better. It figures. Alright, here we go. Toe to go. Still breaking up a little bit. Feels good right about now. uncharted road. Oh, this feels so good. So good. With it, maybe one more flip. Oh yeah, don't you do it, car. Still got a little bit of roll off the throttle. I like that. I don't know. I like that. Shifting the fourth. Fourth gear, boy. Sounding good. A little bit of hesitation. Oh, I like that. Alright, we downshifter. Oh, this feels so good, man. I haven't been on this bike in almost a year and have a really nice ride with it. I hope y'all can hear me because this bike is pretty loud. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We'll break up there in a second. Don't give out. Oh, I'm loving this. This bike is the best bike to ride in my collection. I would ride this bike every day. Like a dream. Just gonna take her back home. I think that'll do her, and I can fine-tune her. I can fine-tune her if necessary. But right now, she's not backfiring, she's not bucking, she's not popping, and I'll tell you why when I get home. first because we're about to take off. Idle might be a little high. I can adjust that when I get home. Then again, you want a little higher idle with these older bikes because they don't circulate oil very well. Fuck yeah! She's back! My battery's about to die on the camera. Whoa, dead skunk. Now the difficult part is throwing hand signals for left and right turns when you're working a foot clutch and a gear shifter on the tank. So you gotta throw your hand signal, do your downshift, and make the turn. It took me a while to get used to that. But right now I'm gonna start throwing up my hand signal because I gotta make a left-hand turn here and I gotta start downshifting. So I wanna warn them what I'm doing. They seem to know what I'm doing. Oh, this feels so good. It feels so good. Alright, let me park this thing and I'll explain to you guys what I found and what was my mystery problem. I mean, I did have an intake leak, you guys saw that, but there was a mystery problem on top of that intake leak that I found. Put her in neutral, make sure she's in neutral. She is. Let me adjust that idle. Right about there. Shut the fuel off. Let it take some of the fuel out of the bowl. I'll get back with you. Welcome back, YouTube. Slick here in the Slickhead garages. Pardon the appearance, I'm all sweaty. I just got back from the ride that you just saw. Alright, let me go over what the mystery problem was. Little story. I bought this bike about 1.5 years ago, and I rode it for like 2 months. I did 800 miles, and then the motor seized up on me when I was doing 55 miles an hour down the road. It was a scary experience. They had told me the motor had just been rebuilt, but yeah, right. That's why I don't like people touching stuff. So I tore the motor out, tore it all down, found the crank pin in the flywheels was seized. They probably built it too tight. So like I said, I pulled it all out, tore it all down, bagged and tagged everything, and I looked into trying to do it myself, but I didn't have the tools for balancing the flywheel or or any of the stuff that I needed to do when it comes to honing out cylinders and stuff like that. So I found a guy out in Ohio, a restoration guy, drove it out to him. He restored it, sleeved the cylinders, all back together again, and had it done in like 4 or 5 weeks. I rode back out there, picked it up, brought it back home, and put it in the bike. Now, what you see is I'm trying to get this bike running in my previous videos, but I hurt my ankle. I broke my ankle, ruptured my Achilles tendon. So I was out of commission. I couldn't kickstart and work on bikes. So now it's springtime and I'm back at it again. And you see me struggling with this thing. I had an intake leak, and everyone saw I did have an intake leak. That I fixed that. I got rid of the bubbles, pressure testing it. So then I'm test riding it, which you guys don't see, and it's just not, I still can't dial it in. I was getting really frustrated. So on like the 4th test ride, which was last night, I was so frustrated, I was about to kick the bike over. I was so mad. So I said, because all along I had the feeling as if it was also like a timing issue. That's why you see in a previous video, I was rechecking the timing on it, and that seemed to be good. So, you know, I checked all the ground wires that you can and made sure that all the paint was scratched off. So last night, you know, I was so frustrated, I decided, you know what, let me get rid of the electronic ignition. Maybe that's my problem. Go back to points. So, as I'm digging into it, let me show you real quick. Okay, so come around here, this side of the bike. So, pardon me. So, I go to get rid of the electronic ignition, and I start tearing it apart. And as I'm about to pull the base off of the head there, I noticed under here, there's a spring clip. I don't know, you probably can't see it, but there's a spring clip which looks like this under there, which holds the base down tightly. Well, I found this bar holds the spring clip, the tension on. I found one side of it undone underneath. This was underneath of the spring clip. It's supposed to be the other way around. So only one side had tension. So the base could actually kind of rock a tiny bit. So I was like, that doesn't seem right. So I dig into the book, like I said. And when I looked up that part, I read it, it says head tension, ground spring. So that's when a red flag went off in my head. I go, I bet you that's the problem. It's not getting ground. Which, if you don't have a good ground in the timing system, it's going to screw you all up. If that clip isn't in right and you're not grounded right, whether you have points or electronic, if you have points on here, your condenser won't get grounded. You just won't have a good ground and it won't run right. It'll act goofy like it was doing on me. So there it is. There's my big problem. That little spring clip. But in my defense, I didn't put it together. The guy in Ohio did, and he just didn't clip it under there. And another red flag was I noticed that the head, when you move it like this, was super loose. I could do it real easily before. And that should have been a red flag right there. Now, with it tension and spring in there, right, it has a little bit of resistance. So that there was my problem the whole time. This is a little bar I made so that can't walk on you while you're riding down the road. Anyway, there she is. She's done. She's riding right. But you live and you learn. I learned a lot about intake seals during this process, and a lot about the ignition. But it's all about persistence. And as said, when I'm saying that, I almost quit last night. So I totally understand how frustrating it is. I was going to quit and give up. But it was like the last minute, let me rip out the electronic ignition, and bang, that's when I found it. It's that crazy, man. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later. Come on, Sky. Let's go for a walk. No? All right, just lay there. Hey. Who said you could be out here with no clothes on? You don't got your collar on. You're just walking around all naked. Look at you. Look at you. Oh, am I boring you? Am I boring you? Good girl. Daddy fixed the flathead? Yeah, I did. Thank you. What are you girls up to in here? You getting into trouble? Oh yeah. Getting ready to get the old greenie here started up. Just ordered up a battery. She should be here any day. Get back to riding her. And the Black 79, she's doing great. She's running great, feeling great, and she's charging great again. I love riding her. She's really fun. I should stop saying that because I love riding all of them. But battery's out, ready for a new one. All right, officially, this is the end of the video.